Thank you, Danielle, and thank you, Nacho, and welcome, and thank you for attending this presentation virtually. I'm here in Chicago, so it's 11 in the morning, so I should say good evening to you. My name is Vanita Misquita, and I'm in charge of international relations, overseas programs based in Europe and Latin America. And I was one of the people who created the double degree program. So if you have questions about Illinois Tech and the double degree program and other programs, you may write to me at europe@iit.edu. The first slide has a picture. Somebody please mute the mic. There's somebody, yeah, needs to mute the mic. Yeah, okay. The picture you see in the foreground is the campus of Illinois Tech. And on the right-hand side, you will see the metro lines. We have 2 metro stations on the campus that take you to the downtown area in 7 minutes. And this big tube over here is underneath this tube is the student center. Next, please. Next. Yes. So to let you know that Illinois Tech is located in the city of Chicago, and Chicago is the 3rd largest city in the United States after New York and Los Angeles. We are next to Lake Michigan, and the campus is about a 20-minute walk to the big lake, Lake Michigan. Next, please. All right. Chicago is known for its skyscrapers, and Illinois Tech professors and students contributed to many of the skyscrapers in Chicago. It's also one of the greenest cities in the United States. We have many parks, and it's also #1 in manufacturing and in nanotechnology. Next, please. I decided to give you an idea of the weather because people think Chicago is cold all the time, and that is not true. We do have 4 seasons, although the winter is very harsh and it can be below zero freezing, and it can be very windy. For example, today is a very nice day. It's about 20 degrees Celsius. And 2 days ago, it was 6 degrees Celsius. So the temperature can fluctuate from one day to the next. However, we do have fall, which is autumn, and this is the picture of how pretty it can look with all the trees changing color. And it's a close-up view of the student center. You'll see the student center here and this tube that I was speaking of. Why is there a tube to cover part of the rail lines? It's because the trains, when they pass through, they're very noisy. And when students in the student center underneath were speaking with each other, they had to stop speaking, wait for the train to pass, continue speaking, and then so on. So this tube was an international competition of architects, and a Dutch architect, Rem Koolhaas, came up with the idea of muffling the sound of the rail for just a few kilometers over the student center. So now students can talk without having to stop talking when a train passes. Next slide, please. This is our winter in Chicago. We do get a lot of snow, and the winter usually starts sometime after Thanksgiving, which is the end of November, December, and January and February. It does get very cold, and we have a lot of snow during that time. Next slide, please. Spring and summer in Chicago can be very pleasant. With the climate change, the spring can start later or can start earlier, and summer can be very hot. It's also very humid. It can go up to 30 degrees in the summer during the months of June, July, August, and then September it cools down a little bit. Next, please. Now, I'll talk about the composition of the university. If you've looked at other US universities, you'll find that there are colleges and institutes, and it can be very confusing. Briefly, within a university, there are many colleges, and the colleges are ascribed to a certain area of study. For example, you'll see Armor College of Engineering, which means that within the Armor College of Engineering, there are departments, and there are many departments of engineering. So what you should focus on is the department. For example, if you're interested in aerospace, mechanical and aerospace engineering, you would need to look at the Department of Mechanical Materials and Aerospace Engineering. Or if you're interested in electrical and computer engineering, you'd look at the Department of Electrical and Computer Engineering. So the department at a university usually corresponds to a school at your university. For example, our Department of Electrical and Computer Engineering would be similar to your School of Teleco at UBC. Or the Department of Mechanical and Materials Engineering may be similar to your School of Aeronauticos. So that's important for you to know. So if you're interested in any engineering program, you would go to the Armor College of Engineering, where we have many departments of engineering: electrical, chemical, biological, civil, architectural, biomedical. We also have the College of Computing. If you're interested in computer science, you'd go to the Department of Computer Science under the College of Computing. And Lewis College of Science and Letters, the Department of Physics, Chemistry, Biology. And Stewart School of Business has business programs. Next slide, please. Here's some pictures of our labs and our students. Next slide, please. Okay, and then next slide as well. So what you need to know if you are interested in studying in Illinois, at Illinois Tech or in the US, is that our courses are ascribed a certain number of credit hours. For example, on average, one course is worth 3 US credit hours. What does that mean? That means if you have a course in digital systems, you would attend that lecture once a week for 3 hours for the entire semester. So that's what it means when you see digital system 3CH, means 3 credit hours. That course is offered once a week for 3 hours. What's the conversion between the US credit and ECTS? 1 US credit is equivalent to 2 ECTS. So if you see a course, US course of 3 credit hours, it would mean that it's equivalent to 6 ECTS credits. Next slide, please. So why study at Illinois Tech? One main reason is that we have a partnership with the UPC, and we've had this partnership for more than 10 years, and it has been a good partnership. And we were one of the first universities in the United States to set up a double degree program with universities in Europe. In fact, the first school was a Grande École in France, NCA, with which we set up the double degree program, and then it expanded to other schools. Also, Illinois Tech is the only tech-focused university in Chicago. In Chicago, we have many reputable universities. You must have heard of University of Chicago. You must have heard of Northwestern University of Chicago. You must have heard of Loyola University of Chicago. Many universities in the city of Chicago. However, Illinois Tech is the only tech-focused university in the entire city. Also, we have close affiliation with 2 world-famous laboratories. One of them, it's Argonne National Laboratory, which is a laboratory owned by the United States federal government. It's about a 45-minute car ride from the campus. And the other one is Fermilab. Fermilab is the second largest laboratory specializing in particle physics in the world after CERN in Switzerland. These two labs, our professors and our students do research with the researchers in these two labs. So some of our students from France and Spain on the double degree program who've had to complete their trabajo fin, their masters, were able to do their research with their professor who happened to be working with researchers in one of these labs. So there are good opportunities for you because both these labs have world-famous researchers. Also, it's possible for you to complete your master's degree in 1 year. How does it work? So if you're on a 2-year master's degree at UPC, you would complete the first year of your master's at UPC and then the second year of your master's at Illinois Tech. At Illinois Tech, you would pursue a 1-year master's. So say, for example, right now you are in the first year of your master's at UPC. You have to be pre-selected by your school before you can apply to Illinois Tech. Only pre-selected students can apply. That's important. Let's say if you're pre-selected and you apply to Illinois Tech, and if you qualify for admission, you would come next year, August 2021, to pursue a 1-year master's at Illinois Tech. You would complete your master's by August 2022. Your master's would include the trabajo fin de master's and the relevant courses. UPC would have to validate your year at Illinois Tech. So by August 2022, you will have 2 degrees. You will receive the IIT master's degree, and after validation by UPC, you will receive the UPC equivalent degree. So 1 year, 2 degrees, you don't have to waste any time. Also, we offer a partial merit scholarship of 9 credits to pre-selected students. There are no quotas. No quotas means there's no number limit. If your school has a limit, that's we respect your school's limit, but for us, there's no limit. So say, for example, if your school says they have 20 spots available for Illinois Tech, and if 20 of you apply, pre-selected, and you apply, you can come to Illinois Tech under the double degree program. One important point to remember is when you start on the double degree program, you will come to the United States on a student visa. That student visa is called the F1 student visa. Why is it important? One is because it's a student visa, you need permission to come to the States. You have to have a reason why you're coming to the States. So you're coming to the States to study for a degree. That's the F1 student visa. What's interesting about the student visa F1 is that when you graduate, so say you're coming using my earlier hypotheses of coming in August 2021, finishing by August 2022, under this visa, you're eligible for optional practical training, OPT, which means this allows you to work anywhere in the United States in your field of study. It has to be in your field of study. You cannot work in a tapas bar. That is not your field of study. You have to work in your field of study. So if your field of study is aerospace engineering, you have to find a job in aerospace engineering anywhere in the United States. You can work for 1 full year, 12 months. And if your field is STEM related, that's science, technology, engineering, math, which is your case if you're doing engineering, you can extend your work for another 2 years. So all in all, you'll have the possibility of working legally in the United States in your field of study for up to 3 years. The average median salary is 70,000 a year. Next slide, please. Illinois Tech is also a member of the AITU, Association of Independent Technological Universities. This is an association of all private, well, not all, of private universities in the United States. And Illinois Tech was among the 15 founding members. It was started in 1957. And right now, the membership includes 23 colleges and universities. The other members that form part of this association are MIT and Caltech. One point I must highlight is that the private universities in the United States has a different connotation than what private universities in Spain may mean. Private universities in the United States are very selective. All private universities are selective. That means it's not easy to get admission into these universities. Public universities, some are selective, some are not so selective. And so they're larger in size. They may have 20, 30,000 students. Private universities are smaller in size, usually under 10,000, because they're very selective. Next slide, please. Next slide. So the number of students, our student population at Illinois Tech, we have undergraduates. That means students who are pursuing a bachelor's degree, 4-year bachelor's degree. Graduates means students for master's and also for a PhD, doctoral degrees. So we have about 6,300 students in total. At the graduate level, among the 3,200 students, students represented, 53 countries are represented in the 3,200 student body at the graduate level. Next slide, please. Rankings and recognition, we were considered among the top 25 STEM colleges by Forbes in 2018. We also number one in the nation for intellectual property because we have a law school, Chicago Kent College of Law, and our master's in finance was ranked number 5 by the Financial Times. Next slide, please. Next slide. So some of our alumni, that means students who have graduated from the university. So if you have, well, not if, for all of you who have cell phones, the cell phone was invented by a student from Illinois Tech. His name is Martin Cooper, or Marty Cooper, and he received his bachelor's and master's degree in electrical engineering from Illinois Tech. The first cell phone weighed over a kilo, and you see how the progression of the size of cell phones over time. So when you look at your cell phone, think Illinois Tech and Marty Cooper. Next slide, please. If some of you use Alexa, the head scientist behind Alexa was also an Illinois Tech student who graduated with a master's degree in electrical engineering. His name is Rohit Prasad. Next slide, please. Some of our other alumni, Ed Kaplan, who graduated in '65 in mechanical engineering. He was considered the pioneer of the barcode technology. Susan Solomon, who graduated in '77, chemical engineering, discovered the chlorofluorocarbons in the ozone layer. Rajiv Chandrasekhar graduated with a master's in computer science and was a member of the team that developed the Pentium chip. And if you've heard of Linksys, Victor Sau, another graduate of Illinois Tech, was a co-founder of Linksys. Next slide, please. And some of our other alumni not necessarily went into technology or science, like Andrea Berry, who was an Emmy Award-winning broadcast media consultant, and Gloria K. Karlmark, who was part of the famous Little Rock Nine, who stood up against segregation in Arkansas schools. Next slide, please. Next slide. All universities, I would say, most universities in the United States have housing for their students. We call it on-campus housing. At Illinois Tech, we have these residence halls. You can choose whichever residence hall you want to live in. You can choose a single room just for yourself or a room shared with another student. Each of these halls have varied room rates, and it's up to you to make the choice. I must add that you cannot choose on-campus housing if you are not a student at Illinois Tech during the regular semester. So you first have to apply to Illinois Tech, be pre-selected by UPC, then apply, qualify for admission. If you're admitted, and if you're interested in on-campus housing, then you can apply for on-campus housing. Next slide, please. Here are a couple of examples of what a room would look like at Illinois Tech in one of the halls. Okay. Next, please. And this is the lounge area from one of the halls. As you can see, we're in the city of Chicago, and you can faintly see the skyline through the windows. We're about a 7-minute train ride from the campus to the downtown area. Next slide, please. So I've provided you with the web link and the range, the cost range of a room, be it a single room or if you share it with a student for the academic year. Remember, we're currently in the academic year of August 2020 to May 2021. If you decide to come next year, you will fall under the new academic year, which would be August 2021, May 2022. So currently, the cost rates vary from $7,600 to $15,000 for the year just for the room. For the board, that means your meals. You can choose to have meals 3 times a day, 7 days a week, or once a day. It's up to you. And the cost range currently is $1,600 to $6,940 for the year. As a student of Illinois Tech, you are not required to live in on-campus housing. You can choose to live in the city of Chicago and rent an apartment anywhere in the city. A lot of our French and Spanish students have chosen to live in the city, and they're not compelled to live on campus. Some choose to do so, most choose not to do so. Next slide, please. We have sports, however, we're not a sports school. When I say we're not a sports school, it means we do not play sports competitively nationally. Okay. So students often ask, are there scholarships for sports? At Illinois Tech, that's not the case. They have no scholarships for sports. Our mascot is the Scarlet Hawk. So when you become a student of Illinois Tech, your email address will be hawk.iit.edu. We do have competitive sports, but not nationally. We have teams, and you can join any one of these sports and participate in them as a student of Illinois Tech. Next slide, please. If you recollect the first picture with the tube that I showed you, encapsulating part of the rail lines, this is the student center inside, and this is the under part of that tube that muffles the sound of the train when it passes through. So as you can see, the student center is an area where students can relax, play pool, there's a baby foot, there are rooms, breakout rooms if you want to study together. Although now with COVID-19, it's not so easy, but you have to respect the social distancing. And we also have a post office, we have an ATM machine, we have a bookstore, and we have computer terminals available to students 24/7. Next slide, please. Next slide. So I've listed the partners in Spain. We have our partners are Politécnica de Madrid, and all of these schools within Politécnica de Madrid, Catalunya, Valencia, Seville, Comillas, and the School of Engineering at Universidad del País Vasco. Next slide, please. This slide is important for you because you need to know what kinds of master's degrees are offered by each department. Remember, I told you that a department could correspond to a school at UPC. For example, the Department of Electrical and Computer Engineering could correspond to the School of Telecommunications at UPC, or Mechanical Materials could correspond to ESIAT. Okay. So when you go to the link, click on Programs and click Graduate, because your level will be graduate master's level, and then you will find all the master's degrees available offered per department. You can choose any master's degree that we offer. However, the master's degree that you choose has to be approved by ESIAT, because if you're on a double degree program, ESIAT has to validate your year at Illinois Tech. So it's important that the master's degree you choose to study at Illinois Tech be approved by ESIAT, because you don't want to add an extra year of your degree if you can help it. So be careful about that. Next slide, please. Next slide. Our academic calendar, our spring semester starts in January, although it's still winter and snowing, but nonetheless, we call it the spring semester. And our fall semester next year starts August 23rd. Next slide, please. Our deadline. So if you're pre-selected by ESIAT for August 2021, you have to submit an Illinois Tech application by April 15th, 2021. Illinois Tech will make the final decision as to whether or not you qualify for admission. You will see here financial support. All students, you are classified as international students, have to show proof of availability of funds to meet the cost of their education at the US university per US F1 visa guidelines. So that you can submit later, because we don't need proof of funds to make a decision as to whether or not you qualify for admission. So you have time to send the proof of finances. You have to confirm your intent to enroll at the university by July 1st of next year for 2021. We usually require a deposit of $300, and that deposit is waived for partner schools. Some students have paid the deposit, and it just applies towards their tuition cost. So either way, it's fine if you pay or you don't pay. For spring semester, we hardly receive students from UPC in the spring, but the deadline was October 15th, and by the time you get a visa, etc., we start in January. So it's important to get all this done soon. Next slide, please. Next slide. So to recapitulate on the double degree program, you have to be pre-selected by your university. You would pursue a one-year master's at Illinois Tech. You need, for Illinois Tech, to qualify for admission, you have to be pre-selected. You also have to show proof of English proficiency. For example, either the TOEFL, you need a score of 90, IELTS 6.5, or Duolingo 110. We do not accept any Cambridge exams. The only exams we accept are the TOEFL or IELTS or Duolingo. You must note that the TOEFL and IELTS, if you've already taken them, the score is valid for 2 years. So if you took them in 2015 and you're interested in coming to Illinois Tech next year, you will have to retake those exams, or you can take the Duolingo. The official score report must be sent. You have to request for TOEFL, IELTS, Duolingo to send your official results directly to Illinois Tech. The good news is we usually require the GRE exam, and that has been waived because of COVID for fall 2021 applicants. So for any master's degree, Just for those coming interested in coming to Illinois Tech for a master's degree fall 2021, the GRE is waived. Next slide, please. So just a little graphic of how it works. First year master's at UPC, second year at Illinois Tech, and you get the IT master's degree and UPC master's degree. Next slide, please. Yes, I'll talk now about the 1+1 masters. I know at some universities in Spain and at yours, you have a 2-year master's and a 1-year master's, just like at Illinois Tech, in fact. So for those of you who are pursuing just a 1-year master's at UPC, if you're interested in receiving an American degree and maybe at Illinois Tech, you can add another year if you wish to do so and pursue a master's in any pursue a field of study that is of interest to you. It doesn't have to be a similar field of study. So that's one option for you. The only difference between this and the double degree is that you will be adding another year. That's all. The procedure is exactly the same as for the double degree masters. You have to be pre-selected, then you apply, then you have to qualify for admission, and so on. The second difference is that you do not have to do a trabajo fin de masters if you've done it already within the 1-year program at UPC. But I know that in some cases, for example, with our partner school, Valencia, the School of Industrial Engineering, those students who do a 1-year master's, which is 60 ECTS, have the trabajo fin de masters included in the 60 ECTS. And so they do those courses and the trabajo fin de masters at Illinois Tech and pursue our masters, or they have 60 ECTS of courses and 15 ECTS edition of trabajo fin de masters. So either way, they can do all the courses at their school, at your home school, and do your trabajo fin de masters at Illinois Tech, which will be included in a master's degree program. So those are your choices. You will receive, again, like the double degree, you will also receive an Illinois Tech degree, and you will already have had your degree from UPC. Next slide, please. So this is, again, a graphic representation of the 1+1. For the 1-year masters at UPC, you can complete your TFM at Illinois Tech. So you're adding 1 year. Instead of completing a master's in 1 year and working or doing something else, you just add a second year to your master's program. Next slide, please. As I said earlier, the requirements are the same as for the double degree. Next slide, please. So the comparison between the two, if you do a 1-year master's at UPC, you add another year at Illinois Tech. Your students are usually eligible for transfer credit of courses, but in this case, you will not be eligible for that because you've already received a degree from UPC. However, those on the double degree program are eligible for 2-course transfer credit, and they do not have to add an additional year. In both, you can complete your trabajo fin de masters at Illinois Tech. Both types of masters, you will come under an F1 student visa and you're eligible to work in the US. Both types of masters, you'll receive 2 degrees, okay? And both types, you'll be eligible for the partial merit scholarship of 9 credits for 1 year. Next slide, please. I've just provided some information of for the Department of Biology in case there are some students interested in biology or molecular biochemistry and biophysics. Next slide, please. And the research areas also in biology. This may be of interest for some students who maybe thinking about biomedical, and right now the big move or the trends are, because of COVID, the trends are moving towards the health professions, and research in science is key, especially in the health field. So that may be of interest to some of you. Next slide, please. FME, I don't know if there are students from the School of Applied Statistics. Okay, so then we just go to the tuition and fees. For this year, the cost is per credit hour, so it's 1,640 per credit hour. That's the tuition for one course, for one credit. So our master's degree may be 30, 32, or 33 credit hours. So you do the multiplication, 30 multiplied by 16, 14. So that will be the cost for the master's degree. And fees means the use of the labs, the libraries, etc. So activity fee, student fee, which is a requirement for all students coming to Illinois Tech. And I've provided the web link. Next slide, please. I've decided to illustrate and provide you by providing you an example. For example, if you choose a 32 credit hour master's, if you do the multiplication based on the current costs, you multiply by 1614, it's $51,000 for an entire master's degree. If you qualify for admission to Illinois Tech, you have been pre-selected, you qualify, you are eligible for the scholarship of 9 credits for the year. So that would reduce your cost by $14,000. You're also eligible to transfer 2 courses. That means there are 2 courses that you've completed in your first year of your master's at UBC that are similar in content and number of hours to 2 courses in the master's you wish to pursue at Illinois Tech. If approved, that means it has to be evaluated by the department at IIT, you would receive, it would reduce your credit load by 6 credit hours. So if you make the deductions, instead of paying $51,000, if A and B are fulfilled, you would pay instead $27,000 for the master's degree, for an entire master's degree, if it's a 32 credit hour master's. I've given the rough euro to dollar exchange rate. This was on the 23rd of October, since that fluctuates. Now, the cost may increase for the next academic year. We will not know the new cost till February or March of next year. However, I've provided you with the link. It says future tuition, that where they will post the new cost. Now, a cost increase, historically, the increases have varied from 2 to 5% per year. So I would project an increase on the higher end just so that you are prepared. It does cost to study at a US university, so it's a financial sacrifice, and it's important to be well prepared. Next slide, please. I've provided also what the mandatory and other fees would look like, what the cost could be based on this year's costs. The activity fee, health insurance is compulsory. You may opt for it. This is the use of the metro, the bus and the train locally, unlimited for the year. And graduation application fees when you graduate, the events that we host and the cap and gown and the ceremonies and activities that we organize, etc., and all of the paperwork. So all that roughly comes up to about $3,600. It doesn't include lab fees that may apply for certain courses, but this gives you a rough idea. Again, this is based on this year's cost. Next slide, please. Course transfer credit that I'd spoken to you of in one of the earlier slides. You can only choose 2 courses. So for example, if a course at UPC is 2 ECTS credits and you want to receive transfer credit for a 3 credit hour US course, you can bundle 3 courses at 2 ECTS credits each. That would make 6 ECTS credits that are compatible. That means similar in content and number of hours to that one course at Illinois Tech. It has to be a master level course, and you have to have passed it successfully 6.5 out of 10. So for example, if you bundle 3 courses at 2 ECTS per course, the average of the 3 courses should be 6.5 out of 10. Next slide, please. So the outcome, you finished the second year of your master's for the double degree at Illinois Tech in 1 year. It will include your trabajo fin de master's, and you'll receive 2 degrees. Next slide, please. What are the possibilities? You can apply when you graduate, about to graduate from Illinois Tech. You can apply for the work permit, optional practical training, which allows you to work for 12 months in your field of study anywhere in the United States. The application is done through our international center at Illinois Tech, and there's a possible extension for another 2 years. Median annual salary is $71,000 according to specialization. So that's one option. You can work in the States, or you can continue for a doctorate in the US or elsewhere back in Europe, or go back to Europe and work in Europe. The US master's degree is recognized everywhere in the world, so it's usually not a problem for students to find a job anywhere in the world with a US master's degree. Plus, your UPC degree will help. Next program, thank you. Certificate program. This is a non-degree program. This is new that we are offering to students. Usually this has been ascribed to professionals working in companies who may need to enhance their professional skill. We're making them available to students. So if you're interested in the double degree program, and now that things are going virtually because of COVID, you want a taste of 1 or 2 courses at Illinois Tech that you perhaps would like to take virtually, you can choose 1 or 2 courses from the certificate program at a 50% discount. So each course would be at a 50% discount. And you may choose those courses that could apply to the master's degree, the double degree master's that you're interested in pursuing at Illinois Tech. So that would reduce your load when you come to Illinois Tech, and it would also reduce your cost a little bit. So this is another way of getting a taste of a course at Illinois Tech before you come, and hopefully reducing your cost a little bit. Or you can choose to pursue the entire certificate program, but you will not get a degree. It's just a certificate program. It was good for your resume or your CV when you apply for jobs. Okay. Next slide, please. And I provided some examples of the certificate programs. For example, if you're interested in supply chain management, okay. Now, supply chain management would be good for those students who are in industrial engineering and who may want to pursue the double degree at our Department of Industrial Technology and Management. That comes under the College of Computing. So you may look at the courses and see if the courses on offer are similar to the Master of Industrial Management. If similar, you could take 1 or 2 of those courses virtually under the certificate program, which could apply to the double degree, the master's degree program. So it's important. It's an opportunity for you. Again, for any program that you choose, you have to be pre-selected by UPC. The requirement would be the TOEFL, IELTS, or the Duolingo, same requirements. And the certificate program in its entirety may be 9 credits, 12 or maximum 13 credits. So it's about 3 or 4 courses that student can take if you want to take the entire certificate program over 2 semesters. Next slide, please. As I said earlier, the cost is $16, $14 per credit hour, and we're willing to offer 50% discount for the entire certificate program or if you choose 1 or 2 courses. So if you take 1 course from the certificate program, it would be offered at a 50% discount. But make sure you choose the course that can apply to the master's degree that you wish to pursue at Illinois Tech. Then it makes sense. Next slide, please. Here is an example. So the actual cost based on this year, actual cost for a 9-credit certificate program is $14,000. With a 50% discount, it's of course half, reduced to $7,000. So if you decide to pursue a certificate program of 9 credits, you would pay $7,000 instead of $14,000. If you decide to choose 1 or 2 courses, so a 3-credit course is normally $4,800. At a 50% discount, it's $2,421. So you could take 2 courses for this price or 1 course for $2,421 that can apply to your master's degree program. Again, the choice is yours. Next slide, please. Next slide. The final program is the research program. If you think it's too costly, it's too much of a financial sacrifice, but you really want a taste of what it is like to study in the US or to study at Illinois Tech, to have some experience, you can choose to do the research program. The research program is where you can do your Trabajo Fin de Masters at a lab at Illinois Tech. Again, you have to be pre-selected by UBC. You submit your application and you can come, the deadline is 15th October for spring. If you want to come in the fall, starting September, the deadline would be April 1st. There's usually a registration fee of 3 credits based on this year's cost. If you want to just come in the summer for 3 months, there's no registration fee. Next slide, please. If you're interested in the research program, I will provide you with a list of our research centers and institutes, but do not contact any of the professors directly, because all they do is send it to me saying, who's this? We don't know who the student is. So you need to contact me if you're interested in the research program. But first you have to be pre-selected by your school. Your school will send me your name, so I will know if you're interested in the research program or double degree program or any of the other programs I've mentioned. Next slide, please. These are the requirements for the research program. You just need to show proof of an intermediate level in English, and that can be done by a professor of English who has taught you at UPC, who just needs to write a little letter saying the student has met the intermediate level required to pursue research. You will not take any courses at Illinois Tech. You will just do research at Illinois Tech. The visa type is different. It's a J1 research, short-term research scholar visa. Next slide, please. Next slide. So as I said earlier, here are a list of some of our research centers and institutes, just to give you an idea of what we're doing, but do not contact any of those professors. Remember, a lot of them are researchers, so they will not know whether you're a student and where you're from, and they're not interested. They're only interested in their research. So you need to send me your dossier and I will contact the professors on your behalf. Next slide, please. Undergraduate exchange visiting program. Do we have students from the School of Architecture? No. Okay, so let's skip that. We can skip that slide. Yeah, let's skip all those. Yeah, testimonials. So that's towards the end of my presentation. We have a testimony from a student from UPM who graduated, he came on the double degree program, graduated in 2008 with a master's in mechanical and aerospace engineering. He was from the School of Industriales at UPM Madrid. Now he's a strategy manager. When he first started, remember there was a market crash in 2008. His salary was 50,000, and then over time he managed to get a higher salary by 75,000 within his third year of employment. After the F1 OPT, he got several H1Bs. H1Bs is when the company sponsors you for a work visa, which is usually valid for 3 years. And that company can also sponsor you for a green card. That's how he got his green card. And now he's still in the state, working for Motorola, the Lenovo section, as a strategy manager. And he says it was worth it. It was a financial sacrifice, but it was worth it. And he did say that the job market is competitive, and it still is very competitive. Next slide, please. He created this organization, Profesionales Españoles in Chicago, and they organize brown bag lunches to enable students to network with people from different companies and to talk to them about career possibilities and how to interview, etc. So it's a very important organization, very helpful for the Spanish students. Next slide, please, which is my last slide. So if you're ready to start your journey and you have questions, you can share them on chat, I think, or ask them right now. You can unmute your mic and then mute it once you've asked your questions. And if you have questions later, my email address is europe@iit.edu. I thank you for your attention. I'm ready for questions.
Thank you very much. I will stop recording. Just 1 second.